is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome to the discussion for Sleeping Gods, which is Ryan Laukatt's newest game and a highly anticipated game. This was obviously on my anticipated games for 2021, which was something that I backed on a whim and then was more excited for as it was slowly getting closer to the release date. For the record, this is not a ending discussion because I believe we're going to continue the series. Right? We're going to see it out?
I'm okay with
see out the campaign? Awesome. So, what do you guys think of Sleeping Gods?
I think it's a lot better than Near and Far.
Hell yeah, it is.
They did what they should have done the first time.
Yep. I so 100% agree. With Near and Far is a good game, but I don't like it as a campaign game. Like I've mentioned before in the discussion, it became less about the exploration and about the world, and more about, I'm just going to try and quickly burn through my hand of cards and place my camps to quickly end it and get the most points, because at the end of the 10 games, whoever has the most points wins. And it's like, oh, you don't want to explore and get keywords and do quests? No, trade routes. And I did not like it. Then we played Near and Far as hey, let's just do one game. And it's a blast. Because no one's that big on fucking trying to win the whole thing. Yeah, this game is so good. I absolutely love it. Man, this is easily their best game. It hits everything on the head for me for what these kinds of games are. So, Brett, what do you think? Initial impressions?
Not nearly as experienced in these types of games or this designer.
Yeah.
First impression is it's very good.
Yeah.
It's, again, harp on this probably, this come up every time, but the complexity level is a little bit high.
Yeah.
If I was on my own, I probably wouldn't enjoy it, trying to balance all these and remember and manage the resources. But since we're all cooperating and we're deciding together what to do, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's working well.
Right. Yeah, that's the big crux, is the fact that this is fully cooperative, and there's a lot of pieces, and there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of abilities that you have to remember. Although you do mention that the complexity, you said a little high.
For me.
No, I agree. This is definitely not. I think it's on that same kind of Near and Far level. There's stuff going on, but because it's cooperative, it takes away the complexity a little bit. Because it's not just you trying to remember everything and then compete with other players. Right. You get to explore this completely unique world with others, and that's why I think this is one of those games that, like Seventh Continent, where it's just, hey, explore, figure it out. You know, this is one that I am having fun with more people. Like Seventh Continent, I'm just like, I'll play by myself, or I'll play with max one other person. This one, because you have to delineate the different crew members, and it manages that. Like, you having to control 8 people would be a little much on your own. Handing it out and be like, okay, you get 3, you get 2, I get 3, makes it a little bit easier. Do you guys have any, real quick before we get into like specifics, any negatives that stick out to you?
The framing of the game, it's a little too open-ended for me. Like, I crave structure, which we found our own routine, but that would be my only real gripe with it, is it's a little too loose.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I agree, but I wouldn't call that a negative for me. It's just a jarring difference to other games. Yeah. And once you get used to it, I get it. It plays more like an open world video game than a standard board game with an end goal.
Yeah. This one.
I am curious though, because the theme, I've mentioned this, the theme is definitely eerie and monstrous, and I'm really curious to see what it's building toward.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm going to be really disappointed if it's not like we're fighting some god.
If it builds to nothing, it's just like, oh, okay, you found your way home. Like, you know, like if it's just, I am curious to see, because as you can see on the journey log, as you can see on the achievement log, there's all the totems, which for the record, we got Stone of Fitness. Hell yeah. So that's one. There are 13 different endings, which is insane. This, out of probably every game that I have played in this genre, this one feels the most like a video game.
Yeah.
because of oh hey dude we talked to this person, quest, boom, okay, we did that, quest, and you have like a running log where I've played video games before where I've checked my quests and I got overwhelmed because I'm like, I have so much to do. Like, there's just so much that I have to try. Okay, I guess I'll just start from the top. Yeah. And like Kat said, that can be a little jarring.
It's a lot to kind of like,
especially whenever you don't have a player who is like, this is what we're doing. It's, I'm the captain. I am the captain now. This is the quest I want to go do. Which would be, that's just an asshole player anyway. But it can definitely lengthen the game because it's like, oh, we have 4 quests. We can do this, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this. Any of these are viable. What do you want to do? I don't know, I'm fine with any of them. And what do you want to do? I'm fine with any of them.
And we don't really know how to fulfill any of them. We've just got some hints.
Yes, it's kind of like, hey, here's the idea of where to kind of go, which I love because they utilize this atlas. I love this so much. I loved it in Near and Far. I love it in the Plaid Hat games. It's a fantastic way to do a board. But I like how you can look at it. And Seventh Continent does the same thing where you look at it and you're like, oh, I can see a landmark there, so that is what we're going to encounter.
Yeah.
We
were off.
right. Like we're like, and it makes sense because we at the end of our second episode we were like, oh, it's probably 21 because that's on the mountain, and then we're like, wait a minute, we're trying to get to the to the temple. How the hell are we getting there from that cliff?
Probably not. Yeah.
Which again is nice because it's not. It doesn't point you directly where you need to be. It goes. It encourages more exploring.
Exactly.
More discovery.
And I absolutely love that. Because what Near and Far does is each game is played on this game is played on these 2 maps. What's cool about Sleeping Gods is this is what they've done in such a beautiful way, is just, oh, you're coming down, tells you page 26. Like, this is a whole world, they just confined it into the map, and then it's like, oh, we came down, so we come up from the top, because that makes sense. There's nothing here that I'm sitting like, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, nothing's thematically weird. And I think with Kat's negative mention is, I think that only feels weird because we were doing it as a series.
Maybe.
Because I'm sitting here and I'm trying to figure out how to end it for an episode. If we were just playing, let's stop here. Let's just see how we're all feeling. Yeah. We can just end it. And that's a unique negative only for us.
It's a lack of control thing for me too. Of just I need to know when it's gonna end, and it overstayed its welcome in that moment because I was like, I just feel like it should have ended by now. Like, not that I'm not enjoying what we're doing, but it's like it's just kind of going a little too long.
Right. And what's great about this, and now it has a lot of similarities to these other games I'm gonna keep mentioning. Seventh Continent was literally, all right, 3 of our miniatures on a map.
Do what you fucking want.
What do you want to do? Yeah. I want to go there. I also want to go there. And so whenever you have pretty not aggressive players, but like me and my friend Devin, we wanted to do stuff. Yeah. And it's like, well, that's not fair because Kat's not going to jump in and be like, fuck off, I want to do this.
Right. If you have a dominant and then a submissive personality, basically,
Right. So what we had to do was for Seventh Continent, we had to be like, okay, everyone gets 1 action. I'm gonna go here and do this. Boom, that's my turn. And it allowed for that. It wasn't weird, but you have to do that. Yeah. Here, the game makes you do that. You're the captain. Boom, boom, boom. Ship action, event, 2 actions. All right, you do that. So technically, what we've been doing, which is thematic, is the fact that every action that we're doing or choice that is being made, the person at the end who has this token ultimately gets to decide what to do. And I love it. I freaking love this game. It is so much fun. Negatives for me. Oh, did you have any other negatives? I guess you didn't have any. But you kind of commented. Any gripes? Any besides the complexity, like the overbearing?
Got a lot of tokens and pieces and things. It doesn't feel overwhelming.
Yeah.
But and it does have limitations. Limited resource management. So, not really a gripe, just looking around, it just seems like there's a lot of stuff here.
Right.
But it's organized nicely and very, very clearly designed differently.
Yeah.
So it's not just different colors or different patterns.
And I think the game, with having all this stuff, it's one of the cleanest games I've played. You go, it's like a ship action, there's 6 of them, 5 of them, and they're all very clearly defined on what you do. Then we just draw an event card, boom, and we know there's a timer on the events. We know eventually we're going to get to the perilous ones, and then you can only do max of 4 things, where you get 2 actions, but there's 4 options, and they're very simple. Hey, port. All right, well, these are our options for port. Market, draw 7, buy them. Explore, literally just read the stuff, and travel. All right, draw a card, see how far you go.
Each of those do have choices built within them. But the basic, what do I want to do now? It's a simple answer.
Yeah, because you don't have to have like a hand of cards. It's like, okay, I have all this stuff. This lets me do. Some of them do, but for the most part, they're just ways to have your characters train and get a little better, so you're better for events that happen to come up. At its core, this is what Tales of Arabian Nights needs to be.
That's what I was going to say. That's the only other similar type of game. Choose your own adventure type game.
Yes, and that's kind of what this is, but it's a cleaner, honed in, more refined story.
Oh yeah.
And if Tales of Arabian Nights were to reprint and do an updated, I think they should absolutely follow this idea and really have cards and a crew and people instead of just...
Because I love that game.
Exactly.
That was like my first real... This, other than Arkham Horror, this will pretty much always be on my top 10.
Right. And Tales of Arabian Nights is a lot of fun, but it literally boils down to, we're just going to read this book to each other. Because like the tokens you get don't really matter. It's just an arbitrary way to find an ending of the game. They could easily follow this method and make it great. But for negatives for me, like I said, I don't really have any negatives. The only one that's kind of annoying, and this could literally just be the way the turn order, is I never get command tokens. And that sucks, because you guys are always having enough to do your actions, to play your cards and stuff, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, can't help. Can't help. I have these cards, can't buy them.
But that's a detriment to us as well.
Yeah.
When we set it up that way.
Right.
It's not like we're screwing you over, we're screwing ourselves.
It just happens. That's true. Yeah, it's because I'm sitting there and I'm like, I want to help. My people aren't weak or hurt or fatigued or anything. Well, I wish
because they haven't done anything.
exactly. So, but on the flip side, I really love the idea of the command tokens because you are limited, which makes you take into consideration every action that you do.
Yeah.
Okay, do we want to risk it? Do we want to leave it up to fate? Yeah. Well, I don't know how many of each number are in there. We just know 1s and 6s are rarer than 2s through 5.
Yeah.
So we're sitting here and it's like, okay, yeah, I'll pay 1. I'll have all 3 of my people help, but they're going to get all tired, and then we overdo it. It's like, well, we need a strength 6. We're at 5. Boom, we drew a 5. It's like, fuck, we overkilled it. But you never know.
And the recovery to be able to act again, it's pretty simple. The recovery of these limited tokens is very simple.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like you have.
I guess it might be nice if you could do it at the beginning of your turn before collecting your.
Yeah. True. But that's cool because the game feels stressful, but it's not stressful.
Right.
Like it's not like a Elder Torah where the game is just beating you down through sheer difficulty. It's that perfect balance of, oh man, the captain's totally exhausted, so we can't use her ability that we really need. So let's try and keep her active. This game has just a sweet balance of everything to it. All right. So, what do you guys think of the story so far? For the record, this is a massive. This feels like the thickness of the Tainted Grail manual, but the difference between that is the Tainted Grail manual has locations, and like if we went here, it'd be a page and a page for that particular location. So it's thicker because more pages are dedicated to one spot. Here, this is how many? Oh, it doesn't tell it. There's 171 pages of stuff in here, and they're paragraphs. This is a massive improvement upon. This is the culmination of Above and Below and Near and Far. Because Above and Below, you had little blurps. You went and explored, and it was always like a paragraph. Oh, you see this, gain this. And it never went anywhere. Yeah. Near and Far gave you keywords, so in Game 1, I got this keyword. Game 4, I have a quest. Oh, if you have this keyword, do this. It had a little sense of progression. Yeah. This is the culmination of all of that. Yeah. But what do you guys think?
I like it. So far, I like the stories. It is engaging. I did get a peek at the book every once in a while, and they're like little snippets, and I'm like, that's a lot. Like, that's mess it up. And we brought it up during our first one, where if you go to a location with a specific like keyword, you do that, and then you finish it, you get rid of the keyword, and you go back, and it changes, and it's not like some bullshit like, "Oh, nice time to meet you again, meet you for the first time," like kind of thing where they just they don't remember me because maybe I was supposed to do this first or whatever. So it's just like, oh well, they're not here, like which I just prefer. So
yeah,
it's cool, it's nice. They thought of that. So
yeah, what do you think?
Great theme, rich environment, without being a novel. But, but it has the feel of a novel that you're just controlling the action.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not one of those things where you're reading and like you said, it's like, oh guys, fucking buckle up. I have 2 pages of shit to read to you, and it's like, yeah, I mean, like, cause some people they're like, yeah, I'm invested, but it's like some people don't grasp when others read to them. Mm-hmm. Some people do. Yeah. But they do it in such a way that even though, okay, we do this, boom, we have a challenge. So it breaks it up. Okay, now we did that challenge. Now we go to this next section.
But on the other hand, if for some reason you don't enjoy that kind of flavor and richness, you just want to get to the meat of it.
Yeah.
You can skip all that and just say, here's what happens.
True. I would recommend if you're not that kind of person, don't play this game. Yeah. But, because the crux of the game is exploring.
Yes.
All your quests, like you mentioned, vaguely tell you an idea of where to go, so you have to explore and then read. So if you don't want to read, or you don't want to, then this probably isn't
Bring along a friend who enjoys reading.
Yeah. And like Kat said, that is absolutely my favorite thing about this game, is the fact that the world is ever progressing with the keywords. Like the best example, I guess, slight spoiler, is we go to talk to someone, we had the keyword, we were able to do an action, and then it got rid of the keyword, and I was like, they're probably gonna fuck it up, and we went back. I was like, let's just go back, let's just fucking see what happens, and it did in such a way that it's like, oh, the bridge is now collapsed, and some of you make it over, and the house is empty now.
It was a completely different circumstance.
Yeah.
Or we in this one we just did was we went there too early, didn't have a keyword, and we were like, oh, okay, did that.
But it wasn't a waste. It's just something else happened.
Yeah.
But now we know we can go back when we're set up better.
And it's fun when you find those keywords. You're like, hey, like,
let's try and do this now.
Like, where are we supposed to go?
Yes, and that's the great thing about the journey log, and for the record, on a side note, the rulebook is amazing. I know you didn't read it. I think you watched videos on it. This is the best 40-page rulebook I have ever read, because it gives you it does designer notes, which is more like, hey, like whenever you play an ability card on your character, there's a designer note. Oh, this is your character taking the time to train and get better at this particular skill. Right. Designer note of like the splash damage. Oh, it's you stumbling an enemy back and it hits its comrade.
Yeah.
And it breaks so many examples to make sure, especially in combat, which I'll get to in a sec, where it's just like clear. Like when I read that, when you see this, you're like, oh hell no. Oh, I was like, Ryan, you fucked it up. This is great. This is a fantastic player aid because you read the rulebook and it's so clear. Yeah. Like I'm just looking at this and I'm like,
that's just the index.
Pretty much, yeah. It's exactly that, summary. And it's broken up into different. Yeah, it's like because whenever you were like talking about your abilities, and I was like, oh, command, oh, it's right there at any time. All right, cool, found it. I barely had to look at this because that rulebook is so good. But in the rulebook, it highly recommends. Oh, on the back is the Wandering Sea. Take notes. Like, mark out stuff. Don't like mark it. Oh, don't go here, or keywords like what you need. So I put like one section of we did that, and then where I want to go back to fight that thing. So it's fantastic. I feel like you feel like a crew. Each of these characters, even though because they don't have a book on the back like Arkham Horror, where it's like the tiniest text and it's all filled up, and you're like.
Yeah, I was worried when we was like, we're gonna read all 8 of our backstories.
Yeah, and they're so quick, but they're enough to make you role play the characters.
I know some of them were like haunting.
Yeah, a lot of them were pretty dark.
Yes.
I'm just like, I was not expecting this of this guy's daughter to not make it.
Yeah,
and that's why it's just.
Audrey talks to ghosts. Her mom goes.
Freaking weirdo. But yeah, because we're a crew that I thought she technically hired us, but it's more of like a we're a crew that probably shouldn't be together. Yeah. This is a depressing ship.
We wouldn't under any other circumstances kind of thing.
Yeah. I also, side note, what I also really like is the fact that as you unlock cards and you unlock stuff, it affects future campaigns. Mm-hmm. Where it's like, oh, you play it again because there's no way you're gonna. The game takes what they said 10 to 20 hours. That's probably if you're really just booking it through. You click on the story, and then as you play another one, we now have these cards to play.
But I can see also playing 10 to 20 hour game 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
And still not being tired of it.
Exactly. Especially because they have this Tides of Ruin expansion, which literally you just put the cards in order, and then it has the location atlas, and then its own storybook. And there's no rules. I was sitting there, I'm like, how do you integrate all this? And it's you just throw it in there, and then quests and stories will tell you where to go, which is fantastic. Okay. All right, so besides obviously getting into the nitty-gritty of everything, combat. What do you guys think of combat?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I think it's exciting to see you get super excited about it. I like watching you guys math it out for me. I'm like, yeah, baby, put it where you need to. Like, it is really cool though.
Yeah.
Piggybacking on that, it's a very, very interesting spin because it's not as simple as just hacking away at them until they're gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're not bullet sponges. Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah. You can. And one thing that I've always hated in the back of my mind about video games and most games is everything is full strength until it's dead.
Yeah.
Right.
This actually has a mechanic where you can choose to weaken. You can reduce the amount of damage it can do. You can hit it in, it's got a theme of you hit it in the head, you hit it in the arm. Yeah. So now it can't, you cut its retaliatory damage.
Right, you hit its mouth so it can't poison or something.
Yes, exactly. But it's not as simple as you target wherever you feel like.
Yeah.
It's got rules about you have to, once you pick a target, you have to target near that when you expand out to do your
damage. Because the theme is that most of us have melee weapons. I think she has a rifle and
there's a few ranged, but
but it's the idea of it's one stroke.
Yeah.
So you didn't like so you didn't hit it like up top. You hit it in one motion.
Yeah, but it's a genius way to make that simple.
Exactly.
And that is something I've never experienced tonight.
There is one game that comes to my mind that I see no one talking about, and it was a Kickstarter game that took forever to fulfill, and it's called Wrathborn Champions. And it's essentially that idea of combat in a grandiose scale. The whole game is you are playing like a rogue or something, and you have a hand of cards that are grid-like, and the monsters are gridded. But in a way where it's like, okay, this giant has a falcon that heals them or something, so you can target the falcon, take it out, now it can't heal. So you do that same kind of Dragon's Dogma fight where it gets weaker as the game goes on. We're going to go for the legs so it can't do a stomp attack and hit all of us. And the genius idea of that game is that where you're sitting at the table is how your cards are oriented.
Right.
It's extremely ingenious, and while the game's not that, the combat's not that meticulous, it is a simplified version of that where combat is a puzzle.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love it. It's so much fun because...
Well, it's not a puzzle in the sense that you have to figure out how to unlock the kill stroke.
Sure.
It's a puzzle in deducing, what can I do with this damage?
Yeah.
Where can I place it in a way
Who's the best person to attack right now?
Yeah. Who's going to follow up?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that it doesn't force the turns for the attacks.
Right. And it's like you can be smart about what you're fighting, and even though it's like we've overcome every combat we've done, we still I don't think any combat has been a breeze.
Oh,
we still get damage and stuff, but it's not like, I think that like one of our characters was knocked out, and we actively made that choice. We looked at it, and we could have easily been like, oh no, if she attacks, she'll take 3 damage, and that will knock her out. But we're like, now she can kill it.
Because I'm going to come along with the killing stroke.
Yes.
Combat's over, and now we can take the time to recover.
Exactly. it's so ingenious. More games absolutely need to do this, because like you said, in a lot of combats or dungeon crawls, yeah, their health is their health until they die. Or it's like, nope, we're still super, super strong, and all right, now we have 0 health, now we're dead, so we're not strong anymore. It's so freaking good. I fucking love combat. And like, because sometimes at the end of like the 2-hour session, like whenever it's like, oh fuck, because you mentioned you're like, this is probably gonna take 10 minutes, and it's like, yeah, you're right. But I'm like, no, yes, let combat keep going, because this is so much fun. So, yeah, I mean, I definitely had to bring up combat because it's ingenious. There's no other game besides Wrathborn Champions, which was designed to do that, that's incorporated where combat doesn't feel like, fucking, they have 30 health, roll a die. See if you hit them.
Yep.
You know? Just whittle them down, folklore shit, you know? Where it's like, roll a percentile. Oh, to hit them, you need above a 60%, but for them to hit you, they need above 30, so they're always going to hit you, and you'll always miss, and it's like, combat was grueling. I did not enjoy it. Here, I'm like, yeah, let's fucking fight. Let's see what we're fighting. So, that's pretty much all I can think of. Oh, one more thing about combat which is another little thing that they added, but also feels thematic: the synergy tokens. That is so thematically cool. Like, this is one of the few things in the game mechanically that makes you feel like a crew. Because what I love about thematic games like this and many others is sometimes whenever it's like, oh, you have to put a lot of your own effort to try and make a game thematic, you know? And some games that are great like this one just, allow you to just add on. It's already thematic, but like if we're doing combat, I can enable myself to act like, oh, okay, we're attacking, I'm holding him while you like cut its arms off or something. The game didn't tell us that, but it did a good enough job that you can imagine that happening, especially with the synergy tokens.
And the synergies are different for the different characters.
Yes.
So it's not just a matter of, okay, I did some damage, so I can hand you over, you can do some more damage.
Exactly.
It's like, I can make it easier for you to hit. Oh no, I can make it so you can defend yourself.
Yes. Oh, I can make it too. If I did my synergy with Gregory, I could have handed that to Kasame. She could have done it, hit 0, gain 2 health.
Yeah. But it's not something we have free choice over either.
Yeah.
It's tied to the character that we use.
Tied to the character and tied to how we decide to attack. It's like, man, do I want to hit that area? That might make it a little harder for us to... I might take more damage, but I can give my synergy token to someone, and that might be really good. Yeah. So... And
that was critical in our successes, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So I am absolutely excited to just see where they go with this. I don't know if they will keep supporting it. I would absolutely love more content for this game. This has to be easily their most successful game.
Their finest work.
So now another thing that we haven't tried. There's actually this thing right here that has dungeons. So there's 6 dungeons in the game that you can actually delve into.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that's terrifying.
Yeah, so somewhere in the book it says see a dungeon.
I think so. I haven't, and it has its own storybook, keys and tokens and shit, and its own maps that you go into. So I thought that was a really, really cool idea. Maybe that's this fucking lightning area. So I didn't look into that at all. I thought it was enough just to get us started. But yeah, so Ryan, keep supporting this game. Just more!
You have a customer.
Yeah.
A lifelong buddy.
Yeah. You guys got anything else?
I don't think so.
I didn't have that much.
Neat. But actually, real quick, your impressions changed.
Yeah, so once we added the structure, not being so like loosey-goosey about it, it made me feel better. It made me feel like we were actually on a timeline and easier to digest. So yeah, my impression went from, oh, this game is a little too long, I don't really know what to, it's a lot all at once, to, okay, this is I can take this, I can handle this.
Yeah, I think...
It's interesting because that, in my mind, is a total contrast to the intro, which isn't really a level, it's just teaching the thing. Like, we have no choice.
Exactly.
We have no cards, there's no randomness. And then all of a sudden, okay, so what do you want to do now?
Yeah.
Yeah, the intro...
You can do anything.
I would probably say if you're going to do the intro, which you technically have to kind of figure out the initial beginning of the game.
Yeah.
I would say if you're going to do the intro, do the walkthrough with it, because the walkthrough takes you to, I think, through 2 rounds. So because that'll give you a little bit more of the structure of the game. Don't just do the intro and then go off, because there's no real point in the intro. But yeah, I think what also helped is whenever we did the first episode, I was trying to figure out, okay, well, surely something's going to happen that I can do a hard stop. And we were really trying to figure out, okay, where do we need to go? What do we need to do? And it was very open-ended. And once we did the second episode, it was like, okay, an hour, that's going to be our virtually hard stop, unless we get into a combat or something at the very end. Right. But that kind of made us more productive. Okay, we have an hour to do something. Like that as well. Yeah. So it's not just us going back to port, then to another spot, then back to port. Yeah. Where nothing happens.
We're being like really slow about it and just like almost lollygagging, which like is not a bad thing. It's just like
it's a bad thing for the series.
I was gonna say, I was like, for what we do, for how we film, the fact that we are filming this one, it does make a difference.
Yeah.
Like,
and I will point out about the timing. It occurred to me, I believe, that in an hour we each took 2 turns.
Okay. That sounds about right, yeah.
But because it's all interactive, nothing dragged.
Yeah.
And it just felt like we got a lot done.
Yeah.
In our 6 or 8 moves.
Exactly. Because everything that you do, because of the way the command actions work, is you're involved. You doing your turn and reading something is like, oh, well, I don't get to experience that. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Yep. In like, oh, what's the challenge? Oh, strength. Okay, yeah, I can help out, and it's gonna make me tired. It's fantastic. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, Brett,
4.
No, that is fair. That is a fair assumption, or that's a fair ranking.
I'm gonna give it. Again, it's hard for me to think in those terms, so I'm just gonna say 8.
8,
knowing that's gonna be way too low for you.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it an 8 right now with room to move.
Move down. You're like, yeah, it's probably good.
All way down.
Either way.
Yeah, these kinds of games are right up my alley. Usually when games that are made like this, there's always something that I'm just like, God, you were so close. However, at this point in time, I got nothing on negatives. I don't even have a gripe. It's a 10. It's a 10 for me. This is easily. This makes me want to take a shit in Near and Far's box. Why do I have this?
Dude, well, let me change mine to a 9.
To a 9?
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm getting you there. I know, because some people are like, no game is perfect. It can't be a 10. My ranking of a 10 is their gripes are so minor that you're reaching, but. These are my favorite kinds of games where you get to explore, but it's also a game.
Yeah.
It's not, oh, let's just read this fucking book to each other.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on, but it's all congrusive and tied to the theme that I cannot wait to see where it goes. Even if it went to nowhere where it doesn't like escalate to where, oh, we're fighting Satan or this monster, you still have all those epic moments along the way anyway.
Yeah.
So, and choices to play it, like to play again and be like, you know what? Let's do this time. Like, hey, instead of leaving that kid to his demise, let's see if we can save him. Stuff like that, which will radically change the game. Yeah. So, Ryan, keep supporting it. Give me content. I need more. But yeah, so 10, 9, 8, 9,
7, 6,
9, 10, 10, 19. 19 out of 10? That's amazing. Wow, I've never seen that high of a score. But yeah, so that's it. That's our thoughts on Sleeping Gods. Let us know what you think of the game in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.